So in this space, which is replicating a putting green height space, we actually have 3 different grasses growing along this stretch here. Where I'm standing right now is Colonial Bentgrass, which is a very short mowed grass. It is something that you could find in your home lawn, and if it did, it just came in by itself, either through wind or seed or whatever, and would be probably showing up as small patches in your lawn. So you could see that forming in your lawn as well too. So this is Colonial Bentgrass. The other half of this stretch here is divided actually in 2. The first half right here is annual bluegrass, Poa annua, and it is considered to be a non-desirable type grass in home lawns, again because of its patchiness, but also because of its color. It tends to be a little bit of an off lime green color, a yellow green or lime green color, which takes away from the consistency of the nice dark green color of Kentucky bluegrass. So it would show up in patches as well too. So it has some concerns as far as inability to tolerate drought, maybe some winter ice damage as well too. So it's not really the ideal grass that you want to have in your home lawn. The last half on this side here, the last half down there is creeping bentgrass. And that's a very desirable grass for putting greens, fairways, and tees on golf courses, but again, not necessarily desirable in a home lawn unless you specifically sowed it to creeping bentgrass. It requires very low mow height to cut. It gets very, very thatchy, which means spongy when you walk on it. It's not a real nice solid feel on it. It's a difficult kind of grass to grow, particularly in conjunction with Kentucky bluegrass. So it's not the most desirable grass for a home lawn application. So this strip we're looking at right here is one of the fine fescues, of which we have a couple more right beside it. This one, I believe, is sheep's fescue, but collectively we just call them all the fine fescues: sheep's fescue, creeping red fescue, hard fescue, and chewing's fescues. They all have a similar appearance in their foliage and so on. They are a very, very fine textured leaf. Like when I put this beside Kentucky bluegrass right here, we call the fine fescues almost needle-like or bristle-like leaves. Very, very kind of bristly leaves compared to the texture that you might see in Kentucky bluegrass, which tends to be a little bit wider. So it is easy to identify when you see it in patches within a home lawn or along the edge of a fence or something like that. Its desirable traits are it has good drought tolerance. Again, when extended periods of drought, you might see the fine fescues lasting a little bit longer than, let's say, the Kentucky bluegrass. It tends to tolerate some of the stresses of the heat a little bit more as well too. And we're talking about degrees here, okay? We're not talking about huge gaps and differences between the grasses, but it does tend to have a little bit of drought tolerance due to its extensive root mass that it has. And so it's quite often incorporated in seed mixes. In golf course applications, they use this in the deep rough, in the far rough, to simulate the fescues that we might find on the coastal golf courses in Scotland, which have a lot of natural fescues growing on them. So they would sow some of the fine fescues all together in the deep rough, and it shows up in this kind of, waviness kind of thing when the wind blows and so on. But in a home lawn application, I don't really see too much of that used in that capacity.